All right, everybody, what is going on? Needs more drums back in Stay Movingsburg for another episode of our public transit series. Just a little mini series here where we're trying to use all of the forms of public transport in the city, not focusing too much on the build, but more about connecting everything together. So before we get started here, just want to say huge thanks to the few people who commented on the last video. I really appreciate the feedback. I'm no urban planner, and so I'm still I know I've been playing this game for a while, but there's still always stuff to learn. And I know that sometimes you build yourself into you can kind of build yourself into a tough spot. You know what I mean? Like, just you set down some infrastructure, and then you think, nah, actually I didn't really want to do that, and you end up deleting a lot of it. And so obviously that can't happen in real life. You can't just demolish. Like, for example, let's zoom in here. In the last episode, I built this little loop. I got a lot of feedback, on this saying, yeah, you can't just demolish like all those buildings. And yeah, you're right. You guys are absolutely right. You can't, especially for kind of the smaller area, and there's only a couple blocks. And realistically, people could probably just walk between, around this area. I really didn't need two stations. But the only reason I did that is just to kind of just do it. Like, if that makes any sense, I just kind of wanted to have some sort of elevated metro loop in my city, just kind of a tribute to Chicago, where I live pretty close to there, and I go into the city a lot for work. And so I always see, they have the downtown loop where a few elevated metro lines kind of connect, and there's a lot of stations around there in a pretty short radius. So I wanted to just to do something similar here, and that's why I did this. And so I know it's not the most efficient thing I've built, but it just kind of serves its purpose for why I built it. So yeah, always happy for criticism and any kind of feedback that you have. I really appreciate it, and this is still a learning process for me too, and I like this to be collaborative, and everybody getting involved and kind of letting me know what they think, and then it helps me kind of figure out better ways to do things in the future, and especially within this city and future cities. So thanks again, and I always appreciate your comments, so keep them coming. But for now, as always, I want to show you a little bit of an update of kind of the things I've built since the last episode. I've been doing a lot of the building off camera, and I think the main thing that I've done is expand out this town here. So if you remember, if you see a couple videos ago when I did the train video, we built this station here, this old historical station, and have since kind of developed the town around the station. And I made some more suburbs over here and just kind of brought it out to this little cool little water area over here. They got some cool little landscape features going on. And I know it's not the best looking suburb, but if you look at it kind of from a distance, it kind of looks, not terrible. Obviously not focusing too much on the details in this city. So just kind of doing what I can, just getting the population a little bit bigger. And this I want to leave. This as kind of like a forest area. Maybe I'll put some trails and stuff through here. Spoiler alert for kind of what's to come. But yeah, this is actually the amount of development that I want to do. This is kind of it. So this is pretty much going to stay the same from here on out. And I think that's a good lesson, to anyone. And something that, I try to think about when I build my cities is kind of like where to stop. I feel like a lot of people get caught up, and I've done it too, where you get caught up in building, and then you build and build and build and build, and your city just looks like one big blob, and it doesn't really look like it has any kind of realistic layout, because it just kind of never, like, it doesn't really seem to end. And so that's what I kind of try to do here is, really kind of set myself some natural boundaries of, how far would the city develop, and, where's it going to end? So try to do that there, try to do that in this city as well, and all the other parts. And especially I confined myself to 9 tiles in this game. So gonna work with that. But anyway, for today, I want to go back to a form of public transport that's a little bit different, not something that I've really used a lot. Actually, similar to the monorail, I don't think I've ever used it in any of my cities. I don't think my cities have kind of gotten along that far, or I just never felt the need to put one of these in my city. And it's going to be ferries. We're going to do some ferry building today, and I have a cool idea of what I want to do with some of these ferry lines. Some areas that I want to take people to, and yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of take a little bit of an overview of some of the areas that I want to focus on and where I want to place down some of my lines here. All right, so before I place anything down, I always kind of like to go into a little explanation about where I think I'm going to start kind of planning to put everything down. It kind of helps me figure things out just for sure. I spent some time doing this off camera, but, I always like to talk through it as well with y'all to see if you guys, have any opinions on it. But yeah, the first thing, obviously, we're going to have a central ferry hub here that will connect to this transport hub, since, this is like a big transport center and, kind of the main downtown area. So we're going to have one kind of right here. And that's why I've been saving up detailing this space. I want to get everything put down first. And then the next one I want to do is I want to have one over here by the university. Actually, no, scratch that. I want to have it over here by the by this eco kind of town center. So it's going to have it connect up here, and then it can service kind of the university as well. And I'm sure we'll have some kind of public transit line going from the train and the ferry stop into the university as well. So that's why I want to put it here, because it's closer to the train too, so people can take that. And then another option, I was thinking about putting one over in this town here. Kind of left this space open to be used with a ferry terminal sometime later, and this is the time. So I think I might do a little bit of redevelopment here. I don't really want to remove these homes. I know that the ferry terminals can kind of be a bit noisy and attract a little bit of traffic, but I think if we manage our infrastructure correctly and maybe do some nice landscaping, we can make it seem sort of like a smaller stop, and maybe put some commercial here as well to make it a little bit of a destination. But I don't want to disrupt kind of the peacefulness of, I guess it is right across from industry, so it's not super peaceful, but nonetheless, I don't want to interrupt kind of the small, feel of this kind of little secluded island here by having this massive ferry operation. So it's just going to be something little, but I want to do that anyway. So I don't know what these guys are doing here. Gotta love that. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, and then I also want to connect up something to this side of the city. This is where we started, actually, in this tile down here. This is the first part of the city that I built, and it has been very, very neglected in terms of any other public transport. We don't have any train lines here. We haven't done any buses yet or anything, and so I kind of think that I want to redevelop part of this coastline or something here to give it some ferry access, so that people can actually access this part of the city as well and kind of go across the bay. So that's another option that we're going to look into. And then with that being said, maybe it would be nice to have another one somewhere over here or something kind of by this area, so people can, get to this populated area as well. But we'll think about that in a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that just yet. But yeah, those are for sure the things that I want to do. And then I don't really think I want to put any ferries around here, like over to this area. And obviously this coastline needs to be developed a little bit, but I think I'm kind of going to leave that for now for some of the other forms. We already have the monorail that brings people from the downtown here. We have a metro line that brings people from the downtown around this area. And so I think we'll save this. I already got some bus routes kind of pre-planned in this pedestrian area. I think we're going to leave it at that, and maybe just, if anything, maybe add like a tram line or so to get around here. But I think the ferry is going to stay mainly kind of in this big bay area, getting people around here. And so the last thing that I want to focus on before we actually get started is I want this big plot of land was in the map when I first downloaded it. This was like a regular, and all that I've done is just kind of made this key and kind of rounded out the edges a little bit, and I'll do some more terrain modification like here and stuff a little, once we get going. But I've been really struggling what to do with this, and I finally thought about something that might work. I'm curious to try it. I know other creators have done something like this in the past, but I want to create sort of like a self-sufficient, like kind of a mini a island mini city, so to speak. And so what I mean by that is I want to have ferry access. I want to have it be mainly a pedestrian area, but relatively high density, sort of like a reclaimed land type of project, something like that, where everything's very carefully planned, everything looks very nice, well manicured, well landscaped, everything like that. And it's actually a pretty big plot of land. To look at it kind of compared to this area here, we could fit quite a lot of stuff on here, I think. So I really want to try that and just see if it works. It might totally fail, but it also might work. And so I think I'm going to have a little bit of everything, a little bit of, a small amount of industry, a service area, obviously for goods and garbage, and then maybe like a recycling center, and obviously power and water. Which water will be easy because we could drag some pipes kind of under the bay here and just say whatever. But power is going to be something else. We might have to put some kind of other power generator on this island, since I don't want to just drag power lines across the bay. I think that would look really, really tacky, and I don't want to do that. But I got some options that we can maybe look into. But yeah, the first thing that I want to do is just get some of the other lines placed. And actually, let's start with the ferry depot. So every ferry line needs a ferry depot. And, these are a little bit noisy. They should probably be placed in a more, I guess, a less populated area. And I'm wondering if maybe something like one of these old industrial islands could be repurposed for one, or potentially something over here by the port. I don't have much room, but I think we could still make it work. I know I've got these warehouses here that I don't want to move, and this is a power plant that I don't really want to move either. All right, so I think I found the winner. I know it might not be the most realistic place since it is right on the bay, but I kind of want to keep it over here by this big industrial port area, since again, it is noisy, and I don't want to put it close to any residential areas. And since our coastlines are a little bit limited, and in that sense we have a lot of residential development along these coastlines, I wanted to put it in a place that people won't really mind. So I think this is going to be the spot right here. This is a nice stretch of road that I could replace. Let's go ahead and just do that now. Doesn't hurt to put a few trees in the industrial area too, make it look a little bit nice. So yeah, we'll leave that there for now. That's a good spot for that. Get us started. Yeah, so let's go ahead, and now we will place down a couple of our ferry stops. So like I said, I want to have these ferry piers are a little bit, more for kind of bigger destinations, I think. And so we're not going to have a ton of these, but maybe one or two wouldn't hurt. But for now, let's go ahead and just stick with this little ferry stop. I think this will be perfect, especially for this area here. We could have one kind of right off of the coast here. And then I want to save that for a bigger stop. And so the next one, I want to put one probably down over here. And I think I might do a little bit of redevelopment as well. I know that there are homes here, and I don't really want to delete a ton of them, but I think, we have this tennis court, we have this water pumping station. I think this would we can reclaim this city block here, kind of put one right there. That way people can kind of come straight up this road and have access pretty close to the downtown. And then I want to put one over here, as I mentioned as well. So we'll get rid of these pathways and kind of do some reconstruction of this. And actually, I think I might put it down more over here, and this road can connect up down here. So let's do that instead. I'm thinking I might put one more somewhere around here, but I don't know. Well, actually, it might not hurt to put one along this part of the coast, since it's a little more level and not as steep of a drive. So let's actually do that. Let's put one there too. And now people can kind of get across the bay here. They can get across the bay here. And yeah, make it kind of all around to the places that I want people to go. And this one actually has, I forgot, this one has a ferry stop too. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, check that out. Yeah, is this actually one of the, yep, Harbor Ferry Hub. Perfect. I totally forgot about that. So now we can have even a better, a smaller distance. We can actually kind of have a line across the coast here. This reminds me a lot of Brisbane, Australia. They had a nice ferry system that was, it was more of across a river than across a bay. But nonetheless, it kind of took you just up and down the river right along the coast and kind of crossed over in a few spots. But it was really, really convenient, and it was a nice kind of scenic way to get around. Nice and slow. You get to see, especially at night, just all the city lights. Really, really good ferry system. And while it's not the most efficient and high capacity form of public transport, it definitely gives that scenic touch. And if you have the time to kind of take something like that compared to like a train or something, I'd highly recommend it. But now for the last one, I do want to see what kind of ferry hubs we actually have. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. And so we actually got a few options with the new, not just the mass transit, but some of the new, whatever the DLC was, I don't remember. But anyway, we have this harbor ferry hub that we already used. We don't need to do that again. The harbor bus hub is a little bit bigger. I don't think we need, we definitely don't need a harbor bus monorail. That is, again, a harbor. And ferry and bus exchange stop. What do we have? A ferry tram hub. Ah, interesting. So I don't think we need the ferry tram hub just because we have the tram line literally right here. And I don't think that people can walk to go get to that. But the ferry bus exchange might actually be a little bit useful. And I say that because, that way we could have this sort of be, we can have a bus hub somewhere around here too. And this could just be another kind of part of that, just kind of connected to that. That'll work out really, really well. So let's go ahead and put this down. I'm trying to think of a good spot to make this look good. And I'm kind of thinking that I want to make some sort of, I don't know if I want some sort of break wall. I feel like I should, especially right here coming out this way. Some sort of break wall would probably be necessary if people are going to stop in the bay. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of work and kind of make something like that. But for now, I will put the ferry stop just over here. Oh, and this has a lot of buses. Oh, so this could actually be our bus hub for this area too. Oh, that'll work out really nice. Awesome. Yeah, well, okay, so that'll work for now, like so. And this is pretty much what we're gonna work with. And again, this we'll get to later in the episode, but I'm gonna spend some time on that. And yeah, I think this is gonna be a good start for us. So now that I have placed everything down, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in, do a little bit of detailing, connecting everything up, and then I will chat with you guys in a minute.
And you know what, guys? I actually think that I am going to call it here today for an episode because I didn't want to make the episode too long, and I feel like developing this into its own little highway accessless, car-free city is going to take quite a little bit. So I'm actually going to do that in the next episode. We're going to have a whole episode. I know it's not entirely with the theme of public transport, but I think it would be cool to kind of try something out. Challenge ourselves, try something a little bit different. See what happens. So yeah, with that being said, this is going to be it for today. Not going to do any of the, I didn't set up any lines or anything for the ferries. I'm going to wait till we get this done and we'll set everything up. And yeah, just to recap, as you can see, we got a little, well, we got our few ferry stops here. We got our little one there. We have our ferry depot put over there, another stop over there, and another stop over here. And then we finished out building this this quay along the side here. Our transport hub is finally starting to really come together. I like, just some simple pathways and landscaping. Really kind of make the area come to life. Added a couple fences. Nothing crazy, but now it looks like this part of the city is actually pretty much complete. Definitely more complete than it was. So yeah, it's just the little details like that, kind of, keeping some open space. I didn't want to crowd this with too many buildings or anything here. Give people some nice views of the water. And yeah, anyway, I like this little break wall. This kind of reminded me of something that we have over in a place that I usually go to in Michigan. There's an old lighthouse that sits at the end of like a break wall like this, kind of out into the harbor. So I thought this would be kind of a cool tribute to somewhere that I visit a lot and somewhere that I really like to go. So again, nothing super special, just whip this up real quick with the help of Move It. But yeah, I encourage you to do this, these kind of small details in your cities, things that don't need to spend a ton of time, but they kind of help bring a little liveliness to your city and everything. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and stay tuned in the next episode. See what we got going on with this with this little island over here. I'm really excited to do that. I've never really done anything like it. It's probably going to turn out awful, and nobody's going to live there, and everybody's going to want to leave, and all the buildings are going to be abandoned. And if that happens, then well, we'll cross that bridge if we get there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So hope you guys have a good week. I will catch you in the next episode, and in the meantime, play some City Skylines and or play your other favorite game. Appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe if you have not yet, and I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.